The morning sun rose over the alien world of Kepler 442b, casting long shadows across the human research camp. Commander Jake Morrison stood outside his tent, drinking coffee from a metal cup. The air tasted different here, cleaner than Earth's. Air, but it still felt strange in his lungs. Jake had been leading this mission for 3 months now. His team came here to study the planet's plants and animals. Earth needed new places for people to live, and this world looked promising. The gravity felt almost the same as home, and the temperature stayed comfortable most days. "Morning, Commander," called Dr. Lisa Harper as she walked toward him. She carried a small device that beeped softly. Lisa studied alien life forms for a living, and she loved her work. Every day brought new discoveries on this world. "Find anything interesting today?" Jake asked. Lisa smiled. "The tree samples from yesterday show something amazing. They grow 3 times faster than Earth trees. If we could bring some back home, we could fix our forests." Jake nodded. That was good news. Earth's forests had been dying for years. Too much pollution, too little care. Maybe this world could help save the home planet. Danny Rodriguez walked up to them, wiping grease from his hands. Danny fixed all the machines in their camp. Without him, nothing would work properly. "The power generator is running smooth," he said. "Should last us another 6 months easy." "Good work, Danny," Jake said. He looked around the camp. They had built a small settlement here. 6 tents for sleeping, 1 large tent for eating and meetings, and several work areas. Solar panels provided power, and a water filter cleaned the local stream water. Amy Watson sat at a table under the big tent, working on the communication equipment. She talked to Earth every day, sending reports and getting new orders. Amy was young, maybe 25, but she knew more about radio equipment than anyone Jake had ever met. "Earth wants our weekly report by tomorrow," Amy called out. "They're especially interested in the mineral surveys." Jake walked over to her. "Tell them we found iron deposits about 5 miles north. Danny thinks there might be rare metals there." 2. Amy typed the message into her computer. The signal would take 8 hours to reach Earth. Everything felt so far away out here. A bark echoed through the camp. Jake turned to see Max running toward them. The German shepherd carried a stick. In his mouth, his tail wagging. Max was not officially part of the mission, but Jake had brought him anyway. The dog had been his partner for 5 years, and Jake could not imagine leaving him behind. "Hey, boy," Jake said, scratching behind Max's ears. The dog dropped the stick and panted happily. Lisa laughed. "He's the only one of us who seems completely happy here." "Dogs adapt faster than people," Jake said. Max figured out this place in about 10 minutes. Ryan Blake walked up to the group. Ryan was their security chief, a former soldier who kept them all safe. He carried a rifle and wore body armor even in the camp. "Perimeter check is done," he reported. "Everything looks quiet." Jake trusted Ryan completely. The man had saved his life twice during the war on Mars. If Ryan said things were safe, then they were safe. "Any sign of the locals?" Jake asked. Ryan shook his head. "The bug people. Keep their distance. Haven't seen one in 2 weeks." The bug people were what the humans called the Zephyrians. They looked like giant insects, with 6 legs and hard shells covering their bodies. The Zephyrian had visited the camp once, about a month ago. They seemed curious about the humans, but did not stay long. "Maybe they're just shy," Lisa suggested. "Maybe," Ryan said, but his voice sounded doubtful. Jake did not worry much about the Zephyrians. They seemed peaceful enough. The few times they had met, the aliens acted polite and careful. They asked questions about human customs and technology, but never seemed threatening. Max suddenly stopped playing and looked toward the forest. His ears stood up straight, and his body became tense. Jake followed the dog's gaze, but saw nothing unusual. "What is it, boy?" Jake asked. Max whined softly, then relaxed. He went back to playing with his stick. "Probably just smelled something interesting." Danny said. The day passed like most others. Lisa collected plant samples. Danny worked on the equipment. Amy sent messages to Earth. Ryan checked the camp's defenses. Jake wrote reports and planned the next day's activities. At dinner, they all sat together under the big tent. The food came from cans and packages, but it tasted good enough. They talked about home, about family, about their discoveries on this world. "My sister's getting married next month," Amy said. "I'll miss the wedding. We'll be back on Earth in 6 months, Jake reminded her. "You can throw her a party then." Lisa shared her latest findings. The local flowers produce a sweet liquid that might work as medicine. A computer analysis shows it could help fight infections. "Everything here seems helpful," Danny observed. "Good water, clean air, useful plants. It's like this world was made for humans." Ryan remained quiet during most of the conversation. He often did that, listening more than talking. Jake knew the soldier was always thinking, always watching for trouble. As the sun set, they prepared for sleep. Each person had duties to perform. Amy checked the communication equipment one last time. Lisa secured her samples. Danny inspected the generator. Ryan set up the night watch schedule. Jake walked around the camp with Max. The dog seemed relaxed now, happy to explore the familiar territory. They had walked this path every night for 3 months. It felt like home. "Good night, everyone," Jake called out as people entered their tents. "Good night, Commander," came the replies. Jake lay down in his sleeping bag. Max curled up beside him. Through the thin tent walls, he could hear the sounds of the alien world. Strange bird calls, rustling leaves, and the distant hum of insects. Different from Earth, but peaceful. He thought about the mission's success. They had learned so much about this world. The reports they sent back to Earth were full of good news. This planet could support human colonies. The resources were plentiful, the environment was friendly, and the native life seemed harmless. Jake closed his eyes and drifted toward sleep. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, new samples, new reports to send home. The future looked bright. Max lifted his head and listened to sounds Jake could not hear. The dog's nose twitched, catching scents carried on the night wind. Something was different tonight, something that made his instincts alert. But Jake was already asleep, and Max settled down beside him. The dog would stay awake a little longer, watching over his human family as he had done every night since they arrived on this strange world. Far from the human camp, in a hidden valley covered by thick trees, the Zephyrian observation post buzzed with activity. Hive Commander H stood before a wall of glowing screens, his 6 legs clicking against the metal floor. His compound eyes reflected the blue light from the monitors as he studied the latest intelligence reports. "The humans continue their territorial surveys," reported his aide, Sub-Commander Vexka. "They have mapped 15 square kilometers in the past week alone." Zaig's mandibles clicked together, a sign of growing concern. "Show me their communication." Records again. The screens filled with translated text from intercepted human messages. Words like resource extraction, mineral deposits, and colony potential appeared highlighted in red. To the Zephyrian mind, these were clear signs of military preparation. "They speak of bringing more of their kind to this world," Vexka continued. "The latest transmission mentions survey teams and preliminary site preparation." Zakh studied the data with growing alarm. The Zephyrians had evolved from hive insects. Everything they did served the greater good of their species. The concept of scientific curiosity for its own sake was foreign to them. When they gathered information, it was always for a specific Purpose, usually related to expansion or defense. Have they requested permission to settle here? Zakh asked. No, Commander. They act as if this world belongs to them already. This troubled Zakh deeply. Proper protocol required newcomers to seek permission from the established inhabitants. The humans had simply arrived and begun their activities without consultation. In Zephyrian culture, this was a clear act of aggression. What of their military capabilities? The commander asked. Bexka brought up new screens showing images of the human camp. They have minimal visible weapons. One soldier guards the camp, but he carries only basic equipment. Their technology appears primitive compared to ours, Zakh nodded. The humans used simple solar panels for power and basic radio equipment for communication. Their shelters were made of fabric and metal poles. Nothing suggested advanced military hardware. Perhaps they are scouts, suggested another aide. The first wave of a larger invasion force. This possibility made sense to Zakh. Send a small, innocent-looking group to survey the land. Make detailed maps and resource assessments. Then return with a full military force to claim the territory. It was a logical strategy. Show me the creature again, Zakh commanded. The screens displayed images of Max playing in the camp. The dog chased sticks, rolled in the grass, and followed the humans around like a devoted servant. The four-legged one puzzles me, Vexka admitted. It serves no apparent function. It does not work. It does not fight. It does not contribute to their survival. Zakh studied the images carefully. Perhaps it is a form of emergency food supply. Possible, Commander, though they seem to waste resources feeding it regularly. The concept of keeping animals for companionship was completely alien to the Zephyrians. In their society, every creature had a specific purpose. Workers built, soldiers fought, scientists researched. Nothing existed without clear function. The humans are inefficient, Zakh concluded. They waste resources on useless creatures and unnecessary activities. This suggests they are not a serious military threat. But the evidence of their mapping and resource surveys troubled him. Why would they gather so much information about the planet if they did not plan to use it? Meanwhile, back at the human camp, the team continued their daily routines, unaware they were being watched. Amy sat at her communication station, typing the daily report to Earth. Colony Assessment Day 92, she typed. Mineral Survey of Northern. Sector complete. Iron deposits confirmed. Possible rare earth elements detected. Recommend follow-up geological team for detailed analysis. She paused, thinking about how to phrase the next section. Biological surveys show remarkable biodiversity. Dr. Harper has cataloged over 200 new species in the past month. Several show potential for medical applications. Amy saved the report and prepared to transmit it. She had no idea that Zephyrian listening devices were recording every word. Jake walked over to her station. Everything ready for transmission? Yes, sir. Earth should receive it in about 8 hours. Jake nodded and walked outside. The afternoon sun felt warm on his face. Max ran up to him, carrying a strange blue flower in his mouth. Where did you find that, boy? Jake asked, taking the flower. Max wagged his tail and barked once. Jake examined the flower carefully. It was beautiful, with petals that seemed to shimmer in the light. Lisa, Jake called. Come look at this. Dr. Harper emerged from her tent, where she had been examining plant samples under a microscope. She took the flower from Jake and studied it with interest. I've never seen this species before, she said. The coloration is remarkable. Where did Max find it? Jake pointed toward the forest. Somewhere in there, I think. Lisa held the flower. Up to the light, the petals almost seemed to glow. This could be significant. I'll need to analyze it properly. As she walked back to her tent, Jake noticed Max behaving strangely. The dog kept looking toward the forest, his ears alert. Every few minutes, he would walk a few steps in that direction, then return to Jake's side. "You okay, boy?" Jake asked Max, whining softly, a sound Jake had never heard from him before. It was not a playful whine or a hungry whine. It sounded almost like worry. Danny approached them, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Generator's running a bit hot today. Might need to shut it down for maintenance tonight. Can it wait until tomorrow?" Jake asked. "Should be fine. Just need to clean the filters and check the cooling system." Jake nodded, but his attention remained on Max. The dog continued to act restless, pacing back and forth near the camp's edge. Ryan walked up to them, his rifle slung over his shoulder. "Perimeter secure, but I found something odd." "What kind of odd?" Jake asked. "Animal tracks, but they stopped suddenly. Like whatever made them just disappeared." Jake felt a small chill run down his spine. "What kind of tracks? Hard to say. Six-legged, maybe. Could be from the bug people, but the pattern's different from what we've seen before." Max suddenly barked sharply, facing the forest. All three humans turned to look, but saw nothing unusual. "Easy, Max," Jake said, but the dog remained alert. In the Zephyrian observation post, Zakh watched the humans through hidden cameras. Their relaxed behavior and casual attitudes convinced him they were either very confident or very foolish. "They show no signs of defensive preparation," Vex K observed. "Either they do not know we are watching, or they do not consider us a threat." "Both possibilities concern me," Zakh replied. "If they are truly unaware, they are dangerously careless. If they know and do not care, they have capabilities we do not understand." The commander made his decision. "Prepare a strike team. 12 of our best warriors." "Yes, Commander. When do we attack?" "Tonight, while they sleep. We will eliminate this scouting party before they can report back to their main force." As the sun set over the alien world, two groups prepared for the night ahead. The humans settled into their evening routines, unaware of the danger approaching. The Zephyrians armed themselves and planned their assault, convinced they were preventing a future invasion. Only Max seemed to sense that something was wrong. The dog paced restlessly around the camp, his instincts warning him of approaching danger. But his human family was tired from their day's work, and they interpreted his behavior as simple restlessness. Jake lay in his tent, thinking about the flower Max had found. It was beautiful, but something about it troubled him. Where exactly had the dog found it? And why had Max seemed so agitated afterward? Outside, Max curled up near Jake's tent, but sleep did not come easily. The night sounds seemed different tonight, more threatening. The dog's ancestors had survived by trusting their instincts, and those instincts were screaming warnings now. In the forest, 12 Zephyrian warriors moved through the darkness, their bio-armor making them nearly invisible. They carried weapons designed to kill quickly and silently. Their mission was simple: eliminate the human scouts. Before they could send word back to their invasion fleet, the stage was set for a confrontation that would change everything both species thought they knew about each other. The attack began at midnight, when the alien moon was hidden behind clouds and the human camp lay in near complete darkness. 12 Zephyrian warriors moved through the forest like shadows, their bio-armor shifting colors to match their surroundings. Each warrior was an expert killer, trained from birth to serve the hive and eliminate threats. Zakh H had chosen his strike team carefully. These were not ordinary soldiers, but members of the elite death squad known as the Silent Mandibles. They had ended rebellions on 3 different worlds and never failed a mission. Tonight would be no different. The warriors approached the camp from multiple directions, using the thick trees as cover. Their compound eyes could see clearly in the darkness, and their natural stealth abilities made them almost invisible to Human detection methods. They moved without sound, communicating through chemical signals that their enhanced senses could detect Dot at the camp's edge. The lead warrior paused and examined the human defenses. Simple motion sensors created a basic perimeter, but they were designed to detect large movements, not the careful approach of skilled infiltrators. The warrior produced a small device from his armor and aimed it at the nearest sensor. A brief pulse of energy disrupted the sensor circuits without triggering an alarm. One by one, the other warriors disabled the remaining sensors around the camp. The humans had no idea their protective barrier was being systematically destroyed. Ryan Blake sat in the communication tent, keeping watch during his assigned guard duty. He checked his watch. 12:15 a.m. 3 more hours until Danny would take over. Ryan sipped coffee from a thermos and listened to the night sounds of the alien world. Everything seemed normal. The generator hummed quietly, providing power to the essential systems. The communication equipment beeped softly as it maintained contact with Earth. Ryan had performed this same watch duty dozens of times, and nothing had ever happened. He stood up and walked to the tent's entrance, looking out over the camp. The other tents were dark and quiet. His teammates were getting the sleep they needed for tomorrow's work. Ryan felt proud of his ability to keep them safe. The Zephyrian warriors had completed their perimeter breach and were now moving toward the sleeping areas. Their plan was simple and effective. Eliminate the guard first, then kill the sleeping humans before they could wake up and fight back. Quick, silent, and complete. The lead warrior crept toward the communication tent where Ryan sat. His weapon was a bioengineered blade that could cut through human flesh and bone with ease. One quick strike to the neck, and the guard would die without making a sound. But as the warrior approached the tent, something unexpected happened. Max lifted his head from where he lay beside Jake's tent and sniffed the air. The dog's sensitive nose detected an odor that did not belong. The chemical scent of alien bioarmor mixed with the pheromones of aggressive intent. Max's ears stood up straight, and his body tensed. Every instinct told him that danger was approaching his family. The dog had been bred from wolves, and those ancient hunting instincts were still strong within him. The warrior froze as he saw the four-legged creature looking directly at him. According to their intelligence, the animal was harmless, kept only as a companion. It should not be able to detect him through his advanced camouflage. Max rose slowly to his feet, his hackles beginning to rise. He could smell 12 different alien scents approaching from various directions. His nose told him these were not the same as the peaceful Zephyrians who had visited before. These smelled of violence and death. The dog began to growl, a low sound. It rumbled in his chest. The warrior realized his cover was blown, but he still had the advantage of surprise. The human guard had not yet detected the threat. Max's growl grew louder, waking Jake inside his tent. The commander had spent enough time with his dog to recognize the different types of sounds Max made. This was not a playful growl or a territorial warning. This was the sound Max made when he sensed serious danger. Jake sat up in his sleeping bag, instantly alert. Years of military training had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now his instincts were screaming at him to pay attention to his dog's warning. "Max?" Jake whispered. "What is it, boy?" The dog's growl became a snarl, and he took several steps toward the forest. Jake could see Max's silhouette against the dim starlight, and the dog's aggressive posture made his blood run cold. The lead Zephyrian warrior realized he could not maintain stealth any longer. The animal had detected him, and the human was waking up. He had to act quickly before the entire camp was alerted. The warrior burst from his hiding place and rushed toward the communication tent where Ryan sat. His bioblade gleamed in the darkness. As he prepared to strike down the guard, but Max was faster. The dog launched himself at the warrior with explosive speed, his powerful muscles propelling him through the air like a furry missile. The Zephyrian had expected to fight humans, not a creature that moved with the speed and ferocity of a natural predator. Max's jaws clamped down on the warrior's weapon arm, his teeth finding the weak joints in the bio-armor. A warrior's scream of pain and surprise shattered the night silence. Alerting the entire camp to the attack, Ryan Blake spun around at the sound, his rifle already in his hands. His training kicked in as he saw the alien warrior struggling with Max in the darkness. "Contact! We're under attack!" He shouted. The other Zephyrian warriors had no choice but to abandon their careful approach. Their mission was compromised, but they still had the advantage of numbers and superior weapons. They charged toward the camp from all directions. There, bendo blades ready to kill. Jake burst from his tent, wearing only his underwear, but carrying his sidearm. "Amy, Lisa, Danny, get to the bunker," he shouted, referring to the reinforced shelter they had built for emergencies. Dr. Harper stumbled from her tent, confused and frightened. "What's happening?" "We're under attack," Jake yelled. "Move." "Danny." Rodriguez emerged from his tent carrying a wrench, the only weapon he could find. Amy Watson ran from her tent toward the communication equipment, trying to send an emergency message to Earth. The second Zephyrian warrior reached Ryan's position and struck with his bio blade. Ryan barely managed to block the attack with his rifle, the alien weapon slicing through the metal barrel. He rolled away and drew his pistol, firing 3 quick shots into the warrior's chest. The bio-armor absorbed most of the impact, but the force knocked the warrior backward. Ryan kept firing, his bullets finding the gaps in the alien's protection. The warrior fell, green blood spreading across the ground. Max had torn the first warrior's arm badly, but the alien was still fighting. The warrior tried to strike the dog with his remaining good arm, but Max was too quick. The dog released his grip and immediately attacked from a different angle, his teeth finding the warrior's throat. A third warrior approached Jake, moving with deadly grace. Jake fired his pistol, but the warrior's bio-armor deflected the bullets. The alien's blade swept toward Jake's chest, but Danny Rodriguez tackled the warrior from behind, his wrench smashing into the creature's head. The camp had become a battlefield. Humans and aliens fought desperately in the darkness, the sounds of combat echoing across the peaceful world. Gunfire mixed with alien screams, and Max's fierce barking as the dog continued his attack on the lead warrior. Amy Watson managed to activate the emergency beacon before a warrior reached her position. The distress signal would reach Earth in 8 hours, but help was years away. They were on their own. Lisa Harper had reached the bunker, but she watched in horror as the battle raged outside. She had never seen violence like this before. The peaceful research mission had become a fight for survival. Ryan Blake engaged 2 warriors simultaneously, his military training allowing him to hold his ground despite being outnumbered. He moved with practiced efficiency, using cover and superior tactics to compensate for their technological advantage. Jake and Danny fought back-to-back against 3 more warriors. The aliens' bioblades were deadly, but the humans' determination and teamwork kept them alive. They retreated slowly toward the bunker, trying to reach the safety of the reinforced shelter, but it was Max who was changing the course of the battle. The dog had killed the first warrior and was now stalking the others with predatory intent. The Zephyrians had never encountered anything like him. Their weapons were designed to fight other intelligent species, not a creature that fought with pure instinct and savage fury. The remaining warriors began to realize they had made a terrible mistake. The harmless pet was systematically hunting them down, and their careful battle plan was falling apart. The attack that was supposed to be a quick, silent elimination had become a desperate struggle for survival. And the humans were not the ones who were losing. Max moved through the battlefield like a force of nature, his every instinct focused on protecting his human family. The dog had killed the first Zephyrian warrior, and now he hunted the others with methodical precision. This was not random violence, but the calculated behavior of a predator defending his territory. The fourth warrior tried to circle around behind Jake and Danny, but Max intercepted him. The dog's powerful muscles launched him through the air, his 90 pounds of muscle and bone striking the warrior with devastating force. The alien's bio-armor cracked under the impact, and Max's teeth found the weak joints at the neck. The warrior's scream echoed across the camp as Max shook him like a rag doll. The dog's ancestors had brought down creatures much larger than these aliens, and those hunting instincts burned bright in his blood. He released the warrior's throat and immediately moved to find his next target. Ryan Blake had wounded 2 more warriors, but his ammunition was running low. The aliens' bioarmor was tough, and it took multiple shots to penetrate their defenses. He ducked behind an equipment crate as energy blasts from alien weapons scorched the air around him. "Jake," Ryan shouted, "I'm almost out of ammo." Jake and Danny were still fighting near the bunker, trying to protect Lisa and Amy. 3 warriors pressed their attack, their bio-blades cutting through the air with deadly precision. Jake's pistol was empty, and Danny's wrench was bent and bloody. "Get inside," Jake ordered, pushing Danny toward the bunker entrance. "I'll hold them off." But Max had other plans. The dog appeared behind the 3 warriors like a ghost, his dark fur making him nearly invisible in the shadows. He attacked the nearest warrior from behind, his jaws clamping down on the alien's leg with bone-crushing force. The warrior fell, screaming in pain and terror. His companions turned to face this new threat, but Max was already moving. The dog rolled away from their attacks and circled them like a wolf hunting deer. The 5th warrior tried to use his bioblade on Max, but the dog was too fast. Max ducked under the swing and leaped up, his teeth finding the warrior's weapon arm. The alien's bioblade fell to the ground as Max's jaws crushed the bones in his forearm. Jake watched in amazement as his dog systematically destroyed the elite alien warriors. Max fought with a combination of intelligence and savagery that the Zephyrians had never encountered. The dog seemed to understand their weaknesses, targeting the joints in their armor and the vulnerable spots in their anatomy. The 6th warrior tried to retreat toward the forest, but Max was having none of it. The dog chased him down and brought him to the ground with a flying tackle. The warrior's screams grew weaker as Max's teeth found his throat. Ryan Blake managed to reload his pistol and rejoin the fight. But as he looked around the battlefield, he realized the situation had changed dramatically. Dead and dying Zephyrian warriors lay scattered around the camp, and Max was methodically hunting down the survivors. "Jesus," Ryan whispered. "What is that dog?" The 7th warrior tried to climb a piece of equipment to escape Max's attacks, but the dog was an excellent jumper. Max leaped up and grabbed the warrior's ankle, pulling him back down to the ground. The alien's bioarmor scraped against the metal as he fell, and Max was on him before he could recover. Amy Watson watched from the bunker entrance, her hands shaking as she held the emergency flare. She had activated the distress beacon, but help was years away. The battle would be decided in the next few minutes. How is Max doing that? She asked Lisa. Dr. Harper stared at the carnage outside. He's not just fighting, he's hunting. This is what dogs were bred from. This is what they were before humans domesticated them. The 8th warrior tried to use a different strategy. Instead of fighting Max directly, he aimed his energy weapon at Jake, hoping to distract the dog by threatening his master. It was a fatal mistake. Max saw the weapon being aimed at Jake and reacted with explosive fury. The dog covered 20 feet in 2 bounds and hit the warrior with such force that the alien's bio-armor cracked like an eggshell. Max's teeth found the warrior's neck, and the alien's weapon fell silent forever. Jake realized what was happening. Max was not just defending the camp randomly. The dog was using tactics, targeting the aliens who posed the greatest threat to his human family. When one warrior aimed at Jake, Max prioritized that target. When another tried to flank Ryan, Max intercepted him. "He's thinking," Jake said in amazement. "He's actually thinking about how to fight them." The 9th warrior tried to surrender, raising his hands and backing away from the carnage. But Max did not understand surrender. In the wild, wounded predators were still dangerous, and Max's instincts told him to eliminate all threats to his pack. The warrior's screams joined the chorus of dying aliens scattered around the camp. Max showed no mercy, no hesitation, no fear. He was a force of nature defending his territory, and nothing would stop him until every threat was eliminated. Danny Rodriguez watched in fascination as Max cornered the 10th warrior near the generator. The dog moved with perfect balance, his body low and ready to spring. The warrior swung his bio-blade in desperate arcs, but Max was patient, waiting for the right moment to strike. When the alien overextended his swing, Max darted in and grabbed his wrist. The bio-blade fell as the warrior's bones snapped under the pressure of the dog's jaws. Max released the wrist and immediately went for the throat, ending the warrior's suffering quickly. The 11th warrior tried to use his fallen comrade's weapon, but Max was on him before he could pick it up. The dog's attack was swift and brutal, his teeth finding the gaps in the bio-armor with deadly precision. The warrior's struggles grew weaker and then stopped altogether. Ryan Blake looked around the battlefield, counting the alien bodies. "Where's the 12th one?" Jake scanned the area, his eyes searching the shadows. "Max, where's the last one?" The dog lifted his head, his nose twitching as he tested the air. Blood covered his muzzle, and his eyes glowed with predatory intensity. Max had been transformed by the battle, reverting to his ancestral nature as a hunter and killer. The 12th warrior was hiding behind the communication tent, wounded and terrified. He had watched 11 of his elite comrades die at the teeth of what they had thought was a harmless pet. The warrior's bio-armor was cracked, and green blood seeped from multiple wounds. Max found him there, cowering in the shadows. The dog approached, slowly, his growl rumbling low in his chest. The warrior raised his damaged bio-blade with shaking hands, but he knew it was useless. This creature had killed trained warriors as if they were prey animals. The final attack was swift and decisive. Max leaped over the warrior's desperate swing and brought him down with crushing force. The alien screams echoed across the camp one last time, then fell silent forever. Jake walked over to where Max stood panting among the alien bodies. The dog's fur was matted with blood, both his own and that of his enemies. Small wounds covered his body where alien blades had found their mark, but none were serious. "Good boy," Jake said softly, reaching out to touch Max's head. "Good boy." Max's tail wagged weakly, but his eyes remained alert. The dog's body was still tense, ready to fight again if needed. The battle was over, but Max would not relax until he was certain his family was safe. Ryan Blake walked among the alien bodies, checking to make sure they were all dead. 12 elite warriors, he said in amazement, and a dog took down most. Of them, Amy Watson emerged from the bunker, her face pale with shock. The distress signal is away. Earth will know what happened here. Lisa Harper knelt beside Max, examining his wounds. He's hurt, but nothing too serious. Amazing that he survived it all. Jake looked around at the aftermath of the battle. The peaceful research camp had been transformed into a battlefield, littered with the bodies of alien warriors. And at the center of it all stood Max, the loyal dog who had saved them all. They thought he was just a pet, Jake said. They had no idea what they were really facing. The battle was over, but its consequences would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity and the creatures they called friends. Dawn broke over the battlefield that had once been a peaceful research camp. The morning light revealed the full extent of the carnage. 12 Zephyrian warriors lay dead around the human settlement, their bio-armor cracked and broken, green. Blood staining the alien soil. Jake Morrison sat on a supply crate, cleaning Max's wounds with antiseptic from their medical kit. A dog lay still, panting softly as Jake worked. Small cuts covered Max's body where alien blades had found their mark, but none were deep enough to be life-threatening. "You did good, boy," Jake whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You saved us all." Max's tail twitched weakly in response. The dog was exhausted from the battle, but his eyes remained alert, watching the forest for any new threats. Even in his wounded state, Max was ready to protect his family. Ryan Blake walked among the alien bodies, collecting their weapons and equipment. The bioblades were unlike anything human science had produced, growing from living tissue, rather than being manufactured. The warrior's armor showed the same organic technology, adapting to damage and self-repairing until the wearer died. "This changes everything," Ryan said, holding up one of the bioweapons. "These aliens have technology we've never seen before, and they came here to kill us." Amy Watson worked frantically at the communication station, trying to send a detailed report to Earth. The distress signal had gone out during the battle, but now she needed to explain what had really happened. "Earth Command, this is Kepler Research Station," she spoke into her microphone. "We were attacked by 12 alien warriors at 0015 hours local time. All attackers eliminated. Human casualties? None. Repeat, 0 human casualties." She paused, looking out at the battlefield. Attack was repelled primarily by Camp Security Dog, requesting immediate diplomatic and military consultation. This incident may have serious implications for human-alien relations. Dr. Lisa Harper was examining the alien bodies with scientific fascination mixed with horror. Their biology was completely different from anything in Earth's databases. The Zephyrians were clearly an advanced species, yet they had been defeated by what they considered a primitive pet. "Their armor is grown, not built," she told Jake. "It's living tissue, like an external skeleton. And look at these weapons. They're bred, not manufactured. This is bioengineering beyond anything we understand." Danny Rodriguez worked to repair the damage to their equipment. Several alien energy blasts had damaged the generator and communication arrays, but nothing was beyond fixing. He moved quietly, still shaken by the violence he had witnessed. "I keep thinking about what almost happened," Danny said. "If Max hadn't warned us, they would have killed us all in our sleep." Jake nodded grimly. The attack had been planned as a quick assassination, and it nearly worked. Only Max's enhanced senses had saved them from becoming another entry in some alien or record far away in the Zephyrian observation post. Hive Commander Zoth stared at screens showing the aftermath of the failed attack. His compound eyes reflected disbelief and growing horror as he processed what he was seeing. "All 12 warriors are dead?" he asked Sub-Commander Vexka. "Confirmed, Commander." The strike team was completely eliminated. Zekth's mandibles clicked together rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. The silent mandibles were the elite of the elite, trained from birth to kill efficiently and without mercy. They had never failed a mission, never lost more than 1 or 2 members in any engagement. How many humans were killed? "None, Commander." All 5 humans survived the attack. This was impossible. 12 elite warriors against 5 primitively armed humans should have been a massacre. The humans should have died without even knowing they were under attack. "Show me the battle footage again," Zakth commanded, the screens filled with infrared images captured by hidden cameras. Zakth watched in growing amazement as the harmless pet systematically destroyed his warriors. The creature moved with speed and intelligence that defied all their preconceptions. "The four-legged one killed 8 warriors personally," Vexka reported. "The humans accounted for the other 4, but only after the creature alerted them to the attack." Zakth studied the images more carefully. The dog's behavior was unlike anything in Zephyrian experience. Their own domesticated creatures were docile and obedient, bred for specific tasks. They showed no initiative, no protective instincts, no capacity for independent thought. "It fought to defend the humans," Zakti observed. "Not for territory, not for food, not for its own survival. It fought to protect creatures of a different species." "Yes, Commander." "And it succeeded." This revelation struck Zakth like a physical blow. The implications were staggering. If humans could inspire such loyalty in other creatures, what else were they capable of? What other surprises might they have? "Send a message to the High Command," Zakht H ordered. "Tell them the human elimination mission has failed. Request immediate guidance on how to proceed." "Should we prepare another attack, Commander?" Zakth looked at the images of his dead warriors one more time. "No, we clearly do not understand what we are dealing with. Until we know more, we watch and wait." Back at the human camp, Jake was trying to understand the attack's implications. Why had the Zephyrians tried to kill them? The aliens had seemed peaceful during their previous encounters. What had changed? "Could this be a misunderstanding?" Lisa suggested. "Maybe they thought we were a threat somehow." Amy looked up from her communication station. "I've been analyzing our message logs. If they were intercepting our transmissions, they might have misinterpreted our scientific reports." Jake thought about this possibility. Their reports did mention territorial surveys and resource extraction. To a suspicious alien mind, those could sound like military preparations. "So they attacked us because they thought we were planning to invade," Jake said. "A preemptive strike against what they saw as a scouting mission." "That would explain why they came at night with stealth weapons," Ryan agreed. "They wanted to eliminate us quietly before we could report back to Earth." Max lifted his head and looked toward the forest. His injuries were healing well, and his protective instincts remained sharp. The dog had done what evolution and thousands of years of breeding had designed him to do: protect his pack at any cost. Jake scratched behind Max's ears, marveling at the bond between human and animal that had saved their lives. Other species might have superior technology or larger armies, but they did not have this unique relationship that humans took for granted. "What happens now?" Danny asked. Amy checked her communication equipment. "Our emergency signal will reach Earth in 6 hours. They'll want us to evacuate immediately." "But the research isn't finished," Lisa protested. "We've made so many discoveries here." Jake looked around at the camp they had built, at the work they had accomplished, at the alien bodies that proved how dangerous this world really was. Mission had changed completely in the space of a few hours. "The research will continue," Jake decided, "but not like this. Earth will send a full diplomatic mission now, maybe even military escorts. This isn't just about science anymore." Ryan was still examining the alien weapons. "These Zephyrians are more advanced than us in some ways, but they made one crucial mistake." "What's that?" Jake asked. "They underestimated the bond between a human and his dog." 3 days later, the first response came from Earth. The message was brief but clear. A full diplomatic fleet was being assembled, along with military escorts and xenobiology specialists. The Kepler Research Station had become the most important location in human space. But more importantly, the message contained New orders for Max. The dog was to be given full military honors and a special commendation for his service. Earth Command had realized that Max's actions might have prevented an interstellar war. Jake read the message to Max, who wagged his tail politely, but seemed more interested in watching the forest. The dog had no understanding of politics or diplomacy. He only knew that his family had been threatened, and he had protected them. A week after the attack, Hive Commander Zokh received new orders from the Zephyrian High Command. Instead of military action, they were instructed to open diplomatic contact with the humans. The High Command had analyzed the battle footage and reached the same conclusion as Earth. This incident could lead to either war or unprecedented cooperation. Zokh approached the human camp under a flag of truce, accompanied by a small diplomatic team. He was nervous, unsure how the humans would react to his presence. After all, he had ordered the attack that nearly killed them. Jake met the Zephyrian delegation at the camp's perimeter, with Max sitting calmly at his side. The dog watched the aliens carefully, but showed no aggression. His protective instincts were satisfied as long as the aliens maintained a respectful distance. Commander Morrison, Zokh spoke through a translation device. I am Hive Commander Zokh. I come to offer apologies for the misunderstanding that led to the attack on your camp. Jake studied the alien leader carefully. Misunderstanding? We believed you were military scouts preparing for an invasion. We now understand this was incorrect. You are scientists seeking knowledge for its own sake. This concept still puzzled Zokh, but he was beginning to appreciate its implications. A species that explored purely out of curiosity might be more trustworthy than one driven only by conquest. We're W.